Do any of y'all remember marble races? Not that they're gone, they're still very much a thing, but more so the childlike wonder of them. In reality, these were just some marbles, but I attached so much more to them. If Olive lost, it was personal. My week was ruined. In our minds, they would have attributes, ambitions, ideals, motivations, so much more. It was cathartic to just lose yourself in something so meaningless, while having it mean so much. And recently, another instance of this has appeared, and it has gone beyond anything before. Horse Race Test, created by Snake Andrews, is a series on Twitter following a video game simulation thingy with a bunch of pixelated horse blobs racing across courses. And it immediately captured an audience of gamblers and gay people alike. It was just such a neat concept. The horse designs were cute, and the style was reminiscent of old computer games. And most of all, we got to personify these pixels. Characters quickly emerged, eventually with names, as all of them started out as just their colors, but if they won a race after a certain point, they got the privilege of a name. We had Orange, full name Jovial Merriment. She is the LeBron James of the group. So much so that she has doping allegations that are unaddressed. Pretty suspicious. Well, I guess she can't do much about that now. We have others like Downtown Skybox, the silly looking one. Brown the Underdog, a story from rags to less rags. Bulletin Board, the blue one. Cyan, the sad one. White, the mildly pissed off yet patient one. And Yellow, the joyful little fella. You know, the whole gang. And yes, there's a lot of ship art, especially with Jovial and Yellow because of an incident. And Cyan and White because Doomed Yuri. We'll get to it. These races were fun, crazy stuff like Cyan getting absolutely robbed, the carousel of death that traps everyone, and new designs were all things of note. And over time, we developed these characters more and more. Yellow was continuously being a silly little creature, Jovial was continuing to be a sweat, Cyan got more and more depressed, and White was gay. Fun stuff, until something happened. Cyan, Brown, and White were isolated in their own race, having all won 0 races. They had a showdown where Brown won twice and was crowned Doorknob, amazing name, only to return to the usual races. But White and Cyan stayed and had one last race. It was a slow and calm one. They just bounced around, sticking to each other, not wanting to pass one another because that might mean they won't see them again. They had always kinda stuck to each other. White would wait outside the carousel of death for Cyan, and now she waited for her in these boxes. But there was gonna be a point where she couldn't wait anymore. They kept bouncing and bouncing. The rejects, the clowns, the circus, together. But eventually, a winner was had. White, now superstitional realism, left. The races resumed, and we got new players such as Pink and Red, and all was well, except one thing. Cyan was still gone. She never came back. People took notice of this, and the amount of Silent Hill 2 hallway images I saw were uncountable. I had to see one last race with her, and just her, in an almost empty box, with just some carrots. Alone. And that's the last we saw of Cyan for now. She's clearly taken the losses hard. One of the first races had her coming so close, only to get it stolen out of her hands by Yellow. Ever since then, she's worn a frown, constantly reminded by the numbers below her that she is not a champion. She is not a winner, and even when it came down to the battle of the losers, one of which being her own friend, she failed. Cyan had snapped. Another abnormal race occurred soon after, this time with entirely new faces, weird demonic alien-like creatures all with a shade of Cyan, although one was reminiscent of White. This was quickly assumed to be Cyan's inner demons, her doubts, her insecurities, and fears. The demonic version of White was her doubts about her and what she meant to her. There was also one named Garbage Bin, how she viewed herself. Cyan's mind was tortured by these races. Now she only has her mind, whatever this place is, not even for comfort. All it does is remind her. But they didn't forget about her. Soon after, another race happened. But now, Super was missing too. And we soon got to see where she was. In a race with a strange figure. Herself. And she beat it. Let's go. That's my winning horse. That's my winning horse. I won $500. Yippee. And she wasn't the only one, because another horse eventually went missing. The goat, Jovial Merriment. One post that I cannot stop thinking about is one that said, like, oh, imagine your girlfriend goes missing. You go to, like, purgatory hell to fight her inner demons, and then LeBron James walks into the door and says, let's do this. Because that's what happened. After a race that Jovial was absent from, which for some reason had an apple, and Pink won for once in her goddamn life. A girl loves apples, what can I say? There was a grand finale. Everything led up to this. Jovial merriment and superstitional realism versus the nightmares. It all came down to this. The prize was still a carrot, but it was one with a glowing border of cyan. They were racing for her. The race was nearly 10 minutes long, and I remember just sitting on my phone, glued to my seat. The hype was so built up in that moment. It was insane. The amount of memes, fan art, and edits of Super and Jovial just in this, like, big extravaganza of a finale, it was some of the coolest and funniest things I've seen come out of a fandom. We were able to make something out of these reskin DVD logos, and so was the creator. And he morphed this simple concept and ended up leaving breadcrumbs and gave these horses a story, but allowed the viewers to make their own. And now it was all about that. The race started off and both teams put up a fight, but Super got trapped in that damn carousel, reminiscent of the ones that trapped everyone back in the early races. Jovial fought hard, basically 1v3ing them to hold them off, and many close calls were had. They weren't giving up. All this time, all this training had led up to this moment. This was real. This was for Cyan. This was for... Oh. Well, that just happened. I don't know if I should be concerned or impressed that this made me genuinely feel something. I still think about that one Discord clip where there was a watch party and someone screamed in absolute agony when the credits rolled. I get sports now. So yeah, they lost. Cyan's bad thoughts won. It's over. But wow, that was fun. I'm used to my favorite pieces of media having bittersweet endings, so I got over it. I just called this one of my favorite pieces of media. Whatever, it deserved that. It was neat. The fandom obviously mourned the loss, and it was shocking. And the creator's gone on record saying that the races were originally done multiple times until he got one he liked, but around the time of the Cyan Purgatory arc, he started doing them only once. So this wasn't an active choice. This was what the computer had in the cards. Fate, as some would call it. But maybe in the end it was doomed from the start. Cyan's woes began in the races, her value being based on whether she won or not. Nothing less, nothing more. Every bit of hope was stripped away from her by the competition. So why would her true fate be given to just another race? This wasn't going to fix her. It would just add to the pressure of it all. This has never just been about the races, about who wins and who doesn't. It's been about the horses, their ambitions, loves, wants, needs, traits, motivations, and so on. Why can't they frolic in the field? Just for a little bit. But that's just how I see it. The beauty of this all is that it could be anything. Because it is, once again, reskin DVD logos bouncing, and they're different colors, and some of them smile, some of them frown. And I would normally do a satirical bit here, like, man, I'm talking about a bunch of horses. But genuinely, this is kind of cool that people are able to morph narratives and stories out of something so simple. So even if someone screenshots this thumbnail, posts it on Twitter, calls me a cornball, I don't care. I'm having fun. And slowly seeing all of it come together in an incomprehensible way to anybody else, all the breadcrumbs and puzzle pieces form something. It's something I don't see being topped for a while. It made me enjoy Twitter, for God's sake. Alright, I've just gotten word that PETA had a similar take on the story to me. PETA? They ruined my life. They ruined everything. They ruined my life. They keyed my car. They salted my crops. I hate you. I hate you. Why must you hurt me in this way? Also, the horses are just really silly. I mean, look at them. What's the hate about this thing? Okay, I've just gotten word. They're back. So the creator said he was going to go on a little break and go on a trip to Europe and all that. And he put like an under construction gif and he was like waiting and stuff. And there was going to be a tournament project. That is tomorrow. That was a short trip to Europe. That lasted a week. The finale came out a week ago as of like voicing this. What the heck? So if there's one thing you should take from this video, follow Snakes Andrews on Twitter.